All right, that's Stock Talk here. We're now going to move into our last segment today, which is the Queen's Court. And Emily, I'm just going to kick it right over to you. I know that Queen's Court is something we do each and every Tuesday. And Emily has a couple of stocks and a couple of sectors on her mind here today that she's interested in looking at for potential trades. Emily, what you got here for the Queen's Court today?
Well, since we haven't had the pleasure of chopping your head off the last couple of weeks, Matt and I have been kind of going a different route on Queen's Court, where he kind of, is my advisor. So you will be my advisor as well, too. But yet somehow I'm sure you'll not give me the proper advice and I'll have to chop your head off. But you guys know me. I like to keep my trading very simple and very easy. So part of my weekly routine is to obviously come into the markets and look at the S&P 500. So Matt, if you don't mind giving me a chart on the S&P, please. So again, it's a quick, top-down approach. Market is bullish. We're at almost at breaking out at the all-time highs over there at 4,700. So I'm going to then go look for something that kind of matches what the market is doing. So I'm going to go through my quick sector checkpoints, and I found XLI and XLK. So give me those two. So kind of similar look to what the market is doing. As a matter of fact, these two are kind of breaking out where the market is still trying to break out, right? Also give me a look at XLK. Similar situation. So now between these two, I went and found two companies that I want to trade, but I need you guys to help me figure out which one to trade and which strategy to use. Okay, now markets are breaking out. So the two that I have, so in XLI in industrials, we have UNP. So that's my pick in industrials is UNP. And similar to what the market is doing and what the sector is doing, we're high basing. If we break above that 245 zone right there, we're good to go. So I'm looking at UNP in industrials. In technology, your favorite, Tim, Microsoft. Now, Microsoft already broken out. We're already broken out there, that 340 range. So I'm looking at these two. And of course, my natural, where my mind is going to go naturally is going to go on the credit side of things and try to see if I can pick up some cash flow. So I quickly glanced at the bull put spreads for both, and we can pick up some credit there. And we'll do the example on UNP because I want you guys to kind of help me figure out which direction to go. So if we go back to UNP and if we were to build out a bull put spread on UNP, I'd be looking at the 30, the 31 day, and I'm looking at that 230, 225 as my starting point. I always like to be below a 25 delta. And if I look at that, I'm picking about 64 bucks. It's a $5 wide spread. So my buying power is going to be about 500 bucks. So keep that number in mind. Okay, so that's on the bull put side of things. I think I can get about maybe if ROI wise, I think that's about maybe an 11 or 12% ROI if we build it out.
And Matt's bringing up the theta spreadsheet. I'm glad you did that, man. That's exactly where my instinct went because I'm doing the math in my head here and I'm getting older. So it's not as quick as I was when I was a kid. 65 cent credit. It's true, actually. 65 cent credit against $435 cost. We're talking about probably that 15% or so.
15%, yeah.
Matt, what is the delta on that? Is that a 20 delta?
It's a 20 delta right now. Yes.
Okay. Got it. What I'm trying to do the math on that roid on that. Okay. Anyway, so you're looking at
I'm filling out the spreadsheet.
Sounds
while
great.
You guys talk.
Okay.
Sounds great. Go ahead.
So we'll keep that 500 number of buying power in mind, because then when I looked at this, I'm going, well, if my bias is bullish and I'm thinking that, market's going to break out, industrials are breaking out, do I really want to go cash flow? Or should I lean on the delta side of things? So then I looked at a bull call spread. And on the bull call spread, funny enough, I looked at buying the 240, which is the at the money. And then I'm going to try to get to like a net 25 delta. So if I was to buy the 245, I'm going to buy the 245 at the breakout. So the 245, so one strike out of the money, that's the 43 delta. But then I'm also going to then go and buy the 260.
I'm just getting ATR real quick.
You're good.
Okay.
So as Matt is running those numbers, so I'm looking at the 245, 260. Now it turns out that the cost of that as well is going to be about $500. So I've got a buying power of about the same amount if I go cash flow, if I go debit. So now it's just a matter of which of those and which side do I go?
On the bull call?
On the bull call, we're going to buy the 245.
Okay.
And we're going to sell the 260. And we're gonna do January. Sorry, Matt, we're in the wrong month.
Yeah, gotcha.
There you go. 245 and 260.
And 260. Okay. All right, so cost base is going to be about the same, 450 versus one around 500. Okay, so on the credit spread here, let's talk credit spread first and foremost. Here's your credit spread. Right, you're doing the 230 by 225. You're bringing in $64 of credit. Your buying power is going to be 436. Your ATR buffer is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this bull put spread, not at all. You got a 14% ROI against margin. You're talking 71 on the Royd. Your ATR range is fine. You know, UNP is not going to light up the world from a credit perspective. That's what you get when you deal with a company with 24% implied volatility. Exactly. And you're also looking at an implied volatility perspective on the individual stock that is very, very low. There is something occurring, though. There is something occurring that if I show you a little bit more time frame here.
Yeah, I want to see this too.
Let's go out a little bit more time frame here. Something occurring over here in a couple months, about 2 months from here. And typically speaking, before that blue icon, we'd like to see that volatility build, right? See that volatility build. Stock does absolutely nothing. What does volatility do? Volatility build. So I do anticipate in the time frame of your bull call spread a volatility build. Maybe not your bull put spread. It's not volatility is not going to hurt it. It's perfectly fine. There is not one thing wrong with that bull put spread. You are selling the 230 here, right? You don't have a lot of support. You're selling right above that support level. You're fine there as well. If you wanted the theta trade, you got the theta trade. My thing is though, I got a market that wants to break out. I got a sector. Let's go to the sector here. I got a sector that is breaking out, following a prolonged neutrality environment, right? Right on the backs of a $1.2 trillion infrastructure deal that just got signed. You got some momentum here, and then you're looking at it at the individual stock, and you're saying, well, I got a stock that had amazing momentum, consolidated, had a great earnings report. Railroads have been in favor, and this is now breaking out. I like the directional trade here is my point. Volatility is low. Volatility could help you. And so if you're looking at a tiebreaker scenario, volatility being one could help you here on the bull call. I like the bull call here. I like taking directional risk.
I do like that analysis. I'm with you, Matt, on that. I'm actually a little bit surprised that you got that good of a credit on UNP. When I looked at the IV percentage, I was assuming our Royd would be a little bit lower. It's a good lesson there that you should always fill out your numbers. You know,
it's not rock star. It's 71.
Yeah.
It's about as average as it gets.
Yeah, it's average. I thought it'd be below average on the credit. As it gets. But that implied volatility build is an important point as well, Emily. I think. Yeah.
It's a sad day when I'm actually sitting here talking about theta versus delta, because this would have been a no-brainer for me 5 years ago. I'd be like, let's just pop those calls and go. But, I have to be balanced, and I have to look at both sides, because I have really, really loved doing cash flow trades. And that's always where my mind will go naturally before I even consider doing anything bullish on the delta side. So it's good to have these conversations and look at everything on both sides of the angle and make a decision, especially when the cost is going to be the same. So
costs are similar, and again, there's nothing wrong with the bull put spread, but my advice to the queen would be, given the fact that you're seeing a little bit of top down here, market, sector, stock, all doing breakouts. I think the directional risk makes sense here.
It makes sense to me. What about Microsoft, Matty?
Microsoft, on the other hand, I'm just going to say direction. We can get complicated.
We don't even have to
here
look at Microsoft numbers. We're good. We know it's
the bull put's not going to be there. Like it could, but theoretically,
I don't even want to.
Right, with Microsoft, you're dealing with the same type of volatility. You could do it. You could sell the 310, bring in a little bit of cash flow here. It would be very, very similar to the credit spread you're getting on UNP. It would be very similar to that. But once again, you're talking about one of the best companies in the world, not just in the US market. Breakouts have been strong on Microsoft. I think if you want to cap your gains here, be my guest. I like the breakout.
I do as well. In fact, and Emily, I'm glad that you brought these two different companies up within the top-down analysis of those sectors. Those ones are grabbing my attention. I love the analysis here, and they're two of the leaders. By the way, Microsoft was on our reports over the weekend as well. You guys should have been prepared for that if your team tackle on some of these breakouts. A couple interesting ideas. I think you go Delta, and I love that you're starting with theta first. You're always thinking theta first. You're thinking cash flow, but the two analysis here, I think it does lean towards Delta. Whether you do long call or a bull call, it's going to come down to cost. How much do you want to spend relative to that? Microsoft's got great liquid options, one of the biggest, best companies in the world. Should be on everybody's watch list. There's not a debate in my mind about that. I'm open to either one here, Matt. I think you could even start with a long call, roll it into a bull call. There's some creative stuff you can do on the Delta side, depending on your rules and depending on your skill sets, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there certainly are, and I do like a bull call here, starting with the call option out of the money. But again, straight call stock, any directional trade on Microsoft with this type of breakout. And again, we haven't even confirmed, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has yet to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
But again, close above 340. I think you got to call it confirmation.
So, do I still get my head chopped off?
Of course.
I'm still trying to figure out that part. Do I still get my head chopped off?
Because you asked. Yeah, because
All
you
right.
asked, you are going to get your head chopped off because you want to.
There you go. It'll give me a good laugh, no doubt about it.